Please remember, the views and opinions expressed by this show or any other show on DV Radio and its guests are strictly those of said individuals and do not reflect those of the DV Radio staff, nor the staff of dysfunctional veterans.
Hello and welcome to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog. I'm your host, Joaquin Juatai. I'm beginning this show in order to continue to spread the word about PTSD service dogs in general, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and just various aspects of service dog life. How do you deal with the adversity that can occur when somebody objects to the presence of your service dog?
Focus on your dog.
A service dog cannot be a protector. Many handlers don't know what they can't do.
The Service Dog Show with PTSDog right here on WDVR, DV Radio. Hello and welcome to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog. I'm your host, Joaquin Juatai. You're listening to the show on DV Radio, WDVR. There's shows like mine all throughout the week here on dvradio.net. One such show is Media Litter Sandwich, which airs Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's Media Litter Sandwich, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on DV Radio, WDVR. This week, my guest is Dawn, one of the administrators from the Facebook page, The Service Dog Free Press. Dawn, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'd like to talk a little bit about what the Service Dog Free Press is. Tell me about your page.
Our page was started at the end of last year after the original page operated by John Sabin was shut down.
Okay. And what's your mission?
Our mission is to educate people about service dogs and the law, get the word out about service animals.
Okay. And there was a Service Dog Free Press page before. Tell me a little bit about that page.
That page harassed people. They posted horrible memes, articles, just basically harassing people. Mm-hmm.
They were essentially an attack page with an agenda. Sabin's agenda. What would you say his agenda was? I've seen some very ugly things out of that page. What was the agenda?
His agenda was to just spread hate and attack people for no reason. Mm-hmm.
He would ridicule owner trainers, self-trainers, or some organizations he would single out, and he encouraged his followers to do the same. What were some of the kinds of things that you saw come out of that?
I would see his followers posting pictures of people that they felt like were using fake service dogs, mm-hmm. and all kinds of other stuff that never should have happened.
Yeah. So they were finding basically kind of the whole service dog police, self-appointed service dog police attitude was what that page sort of engendered and encouraged, correct?
Right.
So the founder of the new page took some action. Tell me about how you guys took down the old Service Dog Free Press page.
The new page, the current page owner for our page filed a complaint, which led to his page getting shut down. Mm-hmm. That's how he was removed from Facebook.
And not only a complaint, but also there was a petition filed.
Correct. And
do you remember how many people signed it?
I cannot recall how many people signed that.
Okay. I'm one of them. When I originally found the Service Dog Free Press, I thought, this is interesting. And I started following it and I started watching it and I started seeing the things they were doing. And it really was an ugly place. I mean, they would call out anybody for anything. If they didn't like a patch on a service dog's vest, they would take the pictures of the person without their permission, and they would just drag them through the mud. And even to the extreme of members of that page encouraging disabled people to commit suicide. It was a really horrible thing. But you and your team have turned that around. And what is your mission now?
Our mission now is just to keep educating and keeping things positive on our page so that people don't feel like they're being attacked. Mm-hmm. Anyone attacking, well, we won't put up with it there.
I absolutely agree. I'm the same on the PTSDog Facebook page. I don't tolerate racism, ableism. It's, any of that nonsense. You guys are very active right now in petitioning to stop something from happening. Tell me about what you guys are working on right now.
Currently, we have a petition that I started like a week ago. Mm-hmm. And the goal is to get Delta Airlines to not end the service dogs based on their breeds.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And a little clarification, Delta Airlines has recently come out with a policy that no pit bull type service dogs will be allowed on their flights. And there's a couple of problems with the policy. First of all, pit bull is not a breed. Second of all, there's no guidelines in Delta's directive. They are banning pit bull type dogs, but that could be anything from a boxer to a Staffordshire Terrier. There are maybe 11 or 12 different breeds that can be considered pit bulls. In fact, I know of one person who has a 50-50 black lab and mastiff mix that has that square boxy head and snubby snout and has been called a pit bull, and there's no terrier of any kind in the dog. So the ban is not only, well, breed-based bans are knee-jerk reactions. Oh, well, that person was bit by a schnauzer, so schnauzers must be dangerous. But the second part of why it's just wrong is because the looks of a dog have nothing to do with the behavior of an animal. Sure, some pit bull type dogs are guilty of having perpetrated very bad bites, but you're more likely to be bit by a dachshund or a miniature poodle than you are a pit bull. And the Air Carriers Access Act, which governs service dogs on flights, does not have a breed restriction. It has a species restriction in that nothing overly exotic is allowed. But another part of confusion about the ACAA is that it lumps psychological service dogs in with emotional support animals. Even though psychological service dogs, such as a PTSD service dog or an autism service dog, are required to have the same level of training as any other service dog. They're required to meet the same behavior standards and the same training standards as a diabetic alert dog, a mobility assistance dog, or any other type of service dog, up to and including a seeing eye dog. Tell me about the petition. How's it doing?
The petition currently has over 1,500 signatures to date.
And tell me about some of the interaction that you're seeing with people who are supporting the petition.
The interaction has been amazing.
I've seen pictures, people posting pictures of their trained service dogs who are considered pit bulls. What do you think? What do you think your chances are that this is going to help to not only change Delta's position, but raise awareness for pit bull breeds that are service dogs?
I'm not sure how it might change it, but I've at least got to try something.
Breed-based bans they're ridiculous. I've seen certain breeds banned in housing areas, things like that. But what people don't realize is trained service dogs, it doesn't matter what their breed is. They're trained to tolerate a large variety of different situations, and to do so without snapping, biting, growling, barking. And if it's actually a service dog, there should never be a problem with it going on a plane or a train or a bus or anywhere else. Dawn, talk to me about where you see the Service Dog Free Press going in the future.
I see it continuing the same way we're going right now. The support among the community has been amazing.
And what kind of things are you guys sharing? What kind of things are you guys posting?
We're posting articles and posting the law when we need to. Memes.
Yeah. Memes are always fun. We trade memes between our pages occasionally. How many people are running the page right now?
Right now, we have the page owner herself and 2 editors.
Okay. So you've actually taken something that was very negative and very ugly and managed to not only shut down the negative, ugly page, but you've begun to build something positive out of it. What are your plans for the future?
Plans for the future? We want to keep doing this.
Mm-hmm. Can you give me any ideas, some specific stories that you've run? What's your favorite thing that you guys have posted on the Service Dog Free Press?
Early on, I had the most fun with the Cover Dog series when we did interviews with different handlers, and that was my favorite.
Okay. Are you going to continue to do more pieces like that?
I hope to in the future. We're just working on getting it all together.
And so, again, this is the page on Facebook, the Service Dog Free Press. And you've taken what originally was a hate page and turned it into a very positive and supportive experience. Dawn, thank you so much for joining me here on the Service Dog Show. We'll be right back after this break. DV Radio. You've been hearing from me about my book for the past 2 years on DV Radio. Now you can order a copy of PTSDog, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, and the Service Dog. Check it out on booklocker.com, barnesandnoble.com, and amazon.com. If you choose to purchase the book on Amazon, please consider using smile.amazon.com and picking the DV Farm as your charity of choice. Buy your copy of PTSDog, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, and the Service Dog today, only at booklocker.com, barnesandnoble.com, and amazon.com.
Ever shop online at smile.amazon.com? Why not give back to the DV Farm by making it your charity of choice? No extra fees or hidden costs, and a portion of your purchase goes directly towards the DV Farm, located in Gilsum, New Hampshire, and helping to continue its mission. That's smile.amazon.com, and be sure DV Farm is your charity of choice. For more information about the DV Farm, please go to dvfarm.org.
Let's get it on.
We've got some bread made for you! The music. Let's go!
You're listening to WDVR on DVRadio.net. By veterans, for veterans.
Simply made for you.
I'm Dave Libby of WarriorService.org and SocerBand.com, and this is Contraband.
The Up in Arms Podcast.
We are not another military spouse / unconventional vet spouse.
Welcome to Media Letter Sandwich.
You're listening to Barracks Talk on DV Radio.
Welcome to Disgruntled Discussions.
You're listening to
The Marquee Dirty 30.
Hello and welcome to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog. I'm your host, Joaquin Juatai.
Hear all of these veteran-made shows on dvradio.net. From original to syndicated shows, they're all on the DV Radio syndicated shows. They're all on the DV Radio Network. Don't forget to check out the schedule banner to find out when your favorite show is airing. Again, that's dvradio.net. And don't forget to search DV Radio on the TuneIn app on your mobile device. DV Radio. You know them as Triceratops and Dependopotamuses.
guys, this is Raven.
Hi guys, I'm Shrew. The fuck is up? I'm Al.
I want to swear. We're swearing?
We're swearing.
But they're known to the DV radio community as
Not Another Military Spouse.
Airing every Friday, 1900, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on dvradio.net. Missed out on an episode of your favorite show on dvradio.net?
That's where all my anger is right there.
Head over to Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and many other podcast streamers. Search DV Radio and catch up today.
Say goodbye.
Radio. Welcome back to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog. I'm your host, Joaquin Juatai, and with me is special guest Justin Tucker, handler of Roxy, the PTSD service dog. Justin, thank you for joining me.
Hey, thank you for having me, sir. I do appreciate you having me on today.
And let's talk a little bit about Roxy, because she's pretty special. Tell me about her.
Yes, sir. She absolutely is. Roxy is my personal service dog. I received Roxy 4 years ago from a breeder in South Carolina. Through the circumstances that I got Roxy, I had went to my local VA hospital and was having severe PTSD issues. I am an Iraq combat veteran, and they were just bombarding me with numerous different types of prescriptions, and it just was doing a lot of negative more than it ever did positive. And I asked them for a prescription for a service dog. Maybe that'll help out. Maybe that'll help some of my issues. And the VA kind of refused of writing me a prescription. They said my PTSD was not a real diagnosis. They said I'm not a diabetic or a person in a wheelchair. So he wasn't really going to write me a prescription. So I took that from that day and took it upon myself to do some research. I have found a local breeder in South Carolina and received Roxy. She was 11 weeks old, August 2nd of 2014. And that was probably the most amazing time of my life, receiving my new best friend. And from when she was 11 weeks old until literally about 2 hours ago, I have literally trained this dog myself through a professional training company called Mountain Canine LLC. We have literally took Roxy to the next level of what a PTSD service dog should be, especially with her being a bully mix. It's very imperative that she is highly trained, because with everything going on nowadays, with the BSL laws and breed discrimination, it's very imperative that when I take Roxy out into public, that she is one of the most best behaved dogs around. And to me, having a best friend everywhere I go helps the best to cure PTSD issues or to prevent PTSD issues way more than any medication would ever allow.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. And just to make it clear, Roxy is what most people call a pit bull.
Yes. She is that. I don't, that's a scary word. Ooh, pit bull.
Yeah, pit bull. Oh my goodness. There's a pit bull in this store.
Yeah. Yes. And see, and there is a common misconception with a pit bull and a bully. Roxy is more of that Staffordshire Terrier, that the bully mix. An actual pit bull is called a game dog. And those are the type of dogs that were bred for, the hunting, the fighting, all the bad things that you ever heard. That's a real pit bull. And to actually find one of those type of dogs, you have to go through a breeder. You have to actually locate and find one of those type of dogs, because what Roxy is, she's not a pit bull. She is a bully mix. She's a Staffordshire Terrier. That's kind of like the semi-automatic AR-15 compared to the military grade M16. It looks just alike, has similar functions, but there's one big difference. One's a semi-automatic, and one is either an auto or a 3-round burst. And so that's where we try to educate the public. Yes, she might be that pit bull type dog, but she's not that aggressive, the way the media portrays these horrible dogs to be. They're bloodthirsty. You can't have them around children or other dogs. I'm here to break that misconception. Every single day of Roxy's life, she has literally broke every single stereotype and literally changed thousands of people's minds about how they view a bully type dog.
It's fantastic.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal, because you'll see some people in the store, they either want to come up and meet Roxy, or they will absolutely tuck tail, turn around, and go the other way, because it's that negative media portraying this poor animal to be this vicious, uncaring beast, which is wrong. You don't ever judge a book by its cover. If you actually stop, get to know Roxy, you might actually just fall in love with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's you are very active in your community. You reach out a lot through Roxy's Facebook page, what is her Facebook page?
It's Roxy, the PTSD service dog. We're local out of Waynesville, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that you said that we are active in the community. First thing this morning, Roxy and myself, we helped with a charity event called Cops on Top. It's for a charity event for the Special Olympics that is held here in Haywood County, North Carolina. And we tried to bring as many people in to help come donate, come get pictures with the law enforcement officers that help serve and protect our community every day. We just try to be super active in our community and give back, given that we do have the platform that we have. It's just, good nature to always give back and help with charities, and just to help your local neighbor in need. And that's very rewarding.
Absolutely. I've seen pictures of you with the county sheriff, with different officers. Have you done like service dog awareness training with the sheriffs, or tell me a little bit about the stuff you do with them?
Right. We do a lot of stuff with the local sheriff's office, local police departments. We do a lot of different fundraisers through local animal rescues with the sheriff's office. When we do hold our events, when it's the sheriff's office, the shelter and everything, we're all in the parking lot all together. We pass out information about dog bite prevention, service dog etiquette, because most people, they don't know how to react when they see a service dog in a place where dogs are not supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, we try to educate everybody as much as we can. It's hard for some people to see, awesome service dogs performing, tasks in public and not want to go up and be like, I just want to pet your dog. And, it's, you can't be rude to anybody, of course, but to politely educate them on what the service dog is there for. Mm-hmm. And most people totally understand. And once you, basically explain, why the service dog is there, they love it. They love the idea. They have now been educated. They're going to go back and educate others. It's very good to help with working with the sheriff's office, because that gives us another bigger platform. They see a pit bull or a bully type dog in the positive light of law enforcement, because usually a lot of law enforcement stories you hear law enforcement officers having to put down, a pit bull dog for, whatever reason. Here you have officers of the law working side by side with Roxy and promoting, the use of bully service dogs, and, just promoting that, bully dogs are good in general. They're not these bad, scary animals that everybody makes them out to be. And it also shows that not every law enforcement officer is a mean, heartless person that's just going to come into your home and shoot your dog. And
unless they're with the ATF.
Unless they're, with the ICE agents or somebody, somebody that you've done something totally wrong with, then everybody gets some at that point.
Well, that's great. I love seeing the pictures of you and Roxy out and about and working with the law enforcement. But Roxy's also pretty special because she's made it to the semifinals of a competition.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Roxy is in the semi-finalist position of the American Humane Hero Dog Awards. Roxy placed in the semifinals last year, but she was beat out from a good friend of Atlas, the wonder dog from the Battle Buddy Foundation. Mm-hmm. And now this year she is back in the semifinalist position. So hopefully this year is the year for Roxy. Yeah. So we are trying everything we can to get all the fans, new fans, to come vote for Roxy. You can go to the herodogawards.org and just scroll down and find the service dog category. There's, I think, 6 or 7 categories. There's service dog, therapy dog, emerging hero, law enforcement, arson. Just click the service dog button, and it'll come up. There'll be 3 choices. There'll be Roxy, a Samson, and I think a Charlie. And Roxy is the only bully dog in that group of 3 there. So it's very obvious which one Roxy is. You just vote once a day for Roxy up to July 11th is the cutoff date. And hopefully after July 11th, we'll be getting that magic go ahead and get ready to go to Hollywood, California to appear on the Hallmark Channel.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's important to raise awareness, especially in the atmosphere in the media right now, with Delta banning all pit bull type dogs, service dogs or otherwise. I think it's really important that we get a positive bully breed out there, show that not all pit bulls are the dangerous, killers that the media has made them out to be.
Exactly.
And there are, there are actually groups out there there are websites all dedicated to banning pit bulls and how dangerous pit bulls are. So I just love what you're doing, where you've got a typical, what people would call a pit bull, and you're showing that this is not a dangerous animal any more than any other animal.
Yeah, and to me, how I see it is, when are we going to start blaming the other end of the leash? We always point the finger, always at the dog first. The dog did this, the dog did that. Well, what about the owner? I mean, does the owner not take accountability of training the dog? I feel every dog needs trained, and especially if you have a service dog or you portray your dog to be an emotional support or service dog, that dog better have training, at least basic obedience. We don't need the dog to sit there and file your taxes or, skim the pool on a hot summer's day. I want the dog to be able to maintain its professionalism in public. If that's sitting on an airplane for 5 hours, guess what? That dog doesn't get up. That dog sits there quietly. And then when it's time to exit the plane, the dog does a good close heel off the plane to where it's not going to be interfering with the other passengers.
Yep. I
feel that is a very big discrimination against, owners with, pit bull type dogs. That's, to me, that's wrong. And I don't really see how Delta is getting around saying, hey, we're not going to allow this type of service dog. Even though service dogs are federally backed by the ADA law, I kind of feel like that's a very gray area, is a federally regulated thing. But as well, I kind of feel like they're kind of stepping on toes that don't need to be stepped on. And
yeah, absolutely.
I don't feel that it's right.
Yeah, just to make it clear for our listeners, airplane flight is regulated by the Air Carriers Access Act, not the ADA. Everywhere else, in the airport, in cabs or buses, trains, stores, that the ADA applies. The ACAA, which was written before the ADA, has some distinctions that really frustrate a lot of us in the service dog world. For one, psychological service dogs, all psychological service dogs, are lumped in the same category as emotional support animals. But psychological service dogs, like a PTSD service dog, are still required to have the same level of training as any other type of service dog, up to and including a seeing eye dog. They have to be tolerant of things in public. They have to perform trained tasks that are specifically affect their handler's disability. Whereas an emotional support animal simply helps a disabled person, again, it's only for disabled people, merely by its presence to calm them in the cases of things like extreme anxiety and stuff. The only place in public where an emotional support animal is protected by law is the Air Carriers Access Act, where the service dog, which is task trained to assist its disabled handler, is protected everywhere the handler can go.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about training Roxy. You started from the scratch with a puppy. Talk to me about your adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. When I received Roxy, I had no idea of any formal training. I just kind of went off of how I saw how a dog should be. Kind of like you don't want unruly children in public running around a store, tearing things down, and utilizing a bathroom in the middle of, a store or anything. I kind of then just got the idea, hey, let's start watching some YouTube tutorial videos. Started watching some YouTube videos, getting the idea how things should go about. Once I was financially able, I went and contacted a professional training company. We had Roxy do her basic and 2 different advanced courses, and where she started learning task training. Roxy knows force fetch. I'm an asthmatic. I had burn pit exposure in Iraq, and now which had led to asthma. Mm-hmm. So I have taught Roxy force fetch of my inhaler. So if it gets to the point where I can't breathe, I tell Roxy, go get it, and she'll come. It might be a little spit and drooling on it, but I'd rather her be able to bring it back and then me not being able to breathe and die right there on the floor there. But
yeah,
I have done a lot of things with Roxy, with the training, with the training company. She is also a canine good citizen. Roxy has 3 titles in CGC. She has her regular canine good citizen and canine good citizen advanced community and urban. So she has been put through the ringer with public access testing and just through rigorous training literally every day of her life. It could be 30 minutes to 3 hours, depending on how good the day is going with training.
Yeah.
And even the best trained service dogs need to have refreshers and need to be trained. Even if it's once a day, once every other day, they need to stay sharp on their skills. And when Roxy gets bored, she'll let you know, hey, it's time to go. Let's go do something. I want to go for a ride in the truck, or I want to go to Lowe's or something, and we'll
Skeeter's
just find
the same way. Skeeter will come up to me and just get right in my face and go, woo, woo, and he's telling me, look, I'm bored. Let's go work. He comes and gets me and tells me, Dad, it's time to go do something.
When you have a smart, bored dog, they kind of get into trouble. And, I have to constantly make sure Roxy is doing something, because if she's not stimulated, like you said with Skeeter, she'll be doing a touch command. She'll be in my face, licking my face, and I'm just trying to sit and relax. And it's like, what do you want from me? I don't know what you want. And then it's clearly obvious. It's like, okay, I pick up her leash. I pick up her vest. She knows it's game time. Okay, I got Daddy to get up, because there's a lot of times I have severe PTSD and depression. If my mind stops for a few minutes and I kind of start dwelling, I have survivor's guilt. I have a lot of issues with my past deployment to Iraq. I was blown up by a hand grenade, and it was very traumatic. And I kind of wonder, how am I still here? What's my purpose? And I kind of get into kind of a little bit of an anxiety swirl, I guess. I kind of start getting emotional. I kind of start sweating, kind of getting a little like wringing of the hands. And Roxy picks up on that. Roxy picks up on my cues. I've also trained Roxy to pick up on my scent when I start PTSDing, I guess is a good word. Your intercognition sweat changes. You go from a regular smell to like a different type of pheromone. And I've trained her to alert onto that smell. It's not the hand motions. It's not the movement. It's not screaming. It's literally the smell is what she alerts on. And that's where she'll do her touch command, where it's a deep tissue compression, where she's literally physically standing on me saying, hey, pay attention to me. She'll lick me, try to get everything she can to have me focused on her. And that instant distraction of her being in my face, I don't even, the whole thought of, PTSD, we're not in Iraq no more. I'm literally at home. Here's my service dog. She's telling me, hey, I'm here. I got your sixth. I mean, she is my battle buddy.
Yeah.
And she might have not been my battle buddy in Iraq, but she's my battle buddy here on the home front.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't ask for anything better than Roxy.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up. I don't think a lot of people understand the mechanics of how PTSD service dog works. But in order to understand how the service dog works, you have to understand a little bit about how PTSD works.
Exactly.
Your brain changes with PTSD, and your brain chemistry changes. And when you start having a PTSD episode, whether it be flashbacks or severe anxiety or panic attacks, your body starts flooding with adrenaline, dopamine, and you're always on the edge of fight or flight when you have PTSD.
Yes,
the
sir.
dog picks up on that flood of chemicals dumping into your system, the adrenaline and the dopamine, and responds to the smell. And that's where people are like, well, that PTSD service dog, that's bullshit. That doesn't work. How does the dog know? Well, the dog can smell it. We can't.
Absolutely.
But it's been proven. It's been proven scientifically, the chemicals that start flushing through your system. And it's been proven scientifically that dogs can pick up on it. So then what you train the dog to do when it picks up on it is the task, is the trained response to what it's picking up on. I use deep pressure therapy too. Skeeter has 3 modes of alert. His first level, I train him to sit on my foot. When he sits on my foot, I know I'm starting to spin up. The next thing he does is his level 2 alert, I guess you would call it, is he starts pushing me away from whatever's getting me to that point. It's usually an idiot in public that's pushing me to where I'm about ready to lose it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And he pushes me away from the stressor. If it gets to the point where I'm gone, the trigger is pulled, he will knock me down and lay on me until I'm calm enough to leave, to remove myself from the situation.
Yes, sir.
Thankfully, I learned to listen to my dog early after the first time he knocked me down and laid on me. And it's only happened twice, thankfully. Because when it gets to that point, it's either Skeeter lays on me or somebody ends up in handcuffs. It's, you get to that point where the trigger's pulled.
There. Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, before there was a Roxy, there was a veteran with a very, very bad and short fuse temper. And there would have been plenty of times I wish I would have had my battle buddy there with me, because there would have been a lot of things that probably wouldn't have went down as they way they had. Unfortunately, being a combat infantry veteran, I've experienced a lot of things that young men and women should never, ever experience in life. And to this day, it still haunts me. And I know every day that I can't change the past. I can just change who I am and how I go about through life. And knowing that Roxy is there for a reason, I know I'm not going to be judged. I'm not going to be sat there and made to feel like what I did was unjust, in vain, not there to, help anybody. I was fighting a president's war. There was so many things that when I got out of the military, I felt like I came back from Vietnam. I was called a baby killer. I was called a bunch of very, very mean things. And, I didn't think of it as, anything bad then, but now years after, I kind of dwell on that. I'm not a baby killer. I'm not a bad person. I didn't do anything out of the norm, but what I was instructed to do from the officers and the leaders appointed above me. It's one thing to go out and commit a murder out on the streets. It's another thing to serve your country and protect your country. And I don't feel like I was a murderer. I just felt like I was a soldier performing a duty.
Absolutely.
And like I've said, if it wasn't for Roxy now, I probably wouldn't be here. I've had a lot of issues with severe depression. I've tried to commit suicide a few times. Luckily, before pulling a trigger on any firearm, Roxy literally had knocked a AR-15 out of my hand and literally got in my face and basically bulldogging me to get me snapped out of it. And when I realized what the hell was going on, I see my dog on top of me, licking me. I'm looking over at a firearm on the ground, and I'm like, what just happened? That's not me. That's not me. That's somebody else. That was my demon. And once I got the idea that I have a task and purpose, I'm not here just for nothing. I realized that I have a sense of being. I gave myself basically a reality check when I realized that, hey, I'm still here, that she just saved me from doing something mortally horrible. And from then on, it's, any veteran I can help, any other person I know that has issues, I try to help them. I've been down some of the dark, scariest roads that any person should ever go down. And I thank God every day that, things didn't happen the way they did. And, I thank God that Roxy was there at that moment in time to help me, because if not, I wouldn't be here. Roxy wouldn't be here. And my family would have been completely devastated. And knowing now how things would have happened, I don't want to see my family in pain because of an uncontrollable demon that was running rampant in my mind. And it finally, basically, it got beat up by Roxy. Roxy told him, get out of here. And I haven't had really a lot of issues since. I mean, of course, I still get angry and mad. I'm still human. But at the same time, I know right from wrong. I know consequences. Before, it was just recklessness. Now I think before I act, because if I know I do something bad, I'm going to go to jail, and something's not positive is going to end up happening to Roxy. And I don't want that. I don't want nothing to happen to my dog.
Yeah. That's, I have similar experiences, with the suicidal thoughts and the depression, and Skeeter interrupting that. But it sounds like you've had kind of the same experience with your service dog that I have. And I summed it up as best I could in the dedication of my book, which is, it's dedicated to Skeeter, and it's a very simple dedication. The puppy saved my life. The dog gave me a mission. And I can't explain it any better than that. A PTSD service dog changes who you are. It changes everything. And no pills can do that. No therapy can do that. I took the pills. I did the therapy. I did the EMDR, cognitive, prolonged exposure. I was so drugged out on the pills that I didn't even want to get up in the morning. It was okay to lay in bed and stare at the ceiling.
And that's why I got into the predicament I did when I was on about 5 different type of antipsychotic medications together. And I actually missed a few days because I have short-term memory loss. Forgot to take a couple of my medications, and then it was literally all hell had broke loose. And that's scary. I don't want to become physically dependent on a mind-altering medication that if I, God forbid, I miss a day or two, I'm literally going to be out of my mind and commit atrocities that don't ever need to be there, because that's not me. That's not Justin. Justin doesn't act like that.
Right.
And once I realized, when I got to that pinnacle of, oh my God, I almost just killed myself because the VA is not helping me. All they're doing is giving me medication or telling me to go to the inpatient, to go ahead and self-commit myself to the psychiatric ward. instead of just listening to me. And I took it upon myself to get clean. I've not physically been on any mind-altering VA medication in quite some time. I still have my asthma, heartburn medication, things like that from the VA. Yeah. When it comes to any type of PTSD medication, I kind of refuse to take it after about 8 years of being on it and having nothing but horrible things to report. And like you said, the puppy and then to the dog had saved my life and gave me a new mission in life. Mm-hmm. And I thank God every day that he put Roxy into my place and saved my life. Yeah. Because if it wasn't for Roxy, those pills probably would have killed me, or I would have done something horrible because of those pills.
Yeah. It's really frustrating. The VA still to this day, their official position, as they've published it on the Center for PTSD Studies, which is a VA website, but it is the national collecting place, I guess you would say, for PTSD science. They still to this day deny that the effectiveness of a PTSD service dog. I actually talked to somebody on the PTSDog Facebook page who was part of the study the VA did 7 years ago where they came to a positive conclusion. But a couple of things, like you did, I took it upon myself. The drugs were killing me. I decided that I wanted to use a service dog. You do not have to have a prescription as a disabled person to train and use a service dog. The requirement is that you're disabled and that the dog is trained specifically to assist with your disability. And I don't think people understand that. You don't have to have a prescription. You do need a doctor's letter acknowledging your disability, that you are disabled, and that you use a service dog as part of your treatment for housing or to fly. But you are not required to have a prescription for a service dog. But you are required to have a service dog that meets the standards of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about, you went from not having any experience training dogs to training dogs. Tell me about that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. After, some time of trying to learn to train Roxy on my own, I kind of got to, I kind of plateaued. I know her obedience was where it was needing to be. It was just that little bit of extra, part of the task training and, doing just above and beyond type of, training. I took Roxy to a professional training company and they showed me so many things that just literally sparked a fire under my butt there. And I was like, I want this knowledge. I want to be able to help people. I don't want to just not be able to help somebody, and I have a lot of friends that have dogs and, even not even service dogs, just friends that have dogs that are kind of unruly, might need a little bit of help. That's where I knew I had a sense of purpose. I'm good with animals. I love dogs. And so I took it upon myself to go that next step further, and I learned to become a dog trainer. Mm-hmm. I became a volunteer dog trainer, started doing all types of obedience training, everything from what they call Schutzen style training, IPO training. I have trained every type of dog, basically, from itty-bitty Jack Russell Terriers to Anatolian Shepherds. I've done everything from basic obedience to all the way up to advanced work, service dog, therapy dog, emotional support. I've recently got into tracking, trailing, scent detection, and protection canine. Mm-hmm. So I have literally have experience in just about the whole realm of dog training. It's not just basic obedience now with me. I can literally have if your dog is able to, if your dog is one that can use its nose and go find people, I can teach that dog to be a search and rescue dog. Or if you need a service dog, I can train your dog to be a service dog. And having this magic ability, I feel like I am totally able to give back to my community, to my, to my local veterans here in need, because there's not, where I'm at, there's not a lot of experience with professional dog training. I mean, there are dog trainers here that are really good trainers, but then they're still, lacking in that well-rounded knowledge of the whole spectrum of dog training. Like everything I just had said previously, like there's only a couple of people that do dog training, but for dogs that are not aggressive.
Yeah.
I am the one that will, if you have an aggressive German Shepherd that bites people, I will be that one to go in there and try to fix that dog as best as we can. You can never cure aggression. You can only manage it. And I try my living hardest best to manage some of the most scariest dogs out there to where they can cohabitate, in society, be able to live with their family, to where their families are not dropping these dogs off at the shelter and overwhelming the shelter. And, and God forbid, a dog had to bite somebody, unfortunately. I want to be able to go to that dog and be able to find out why and try to then fix its issues.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not a total 100% fix, but at least if we can get down to the nitty gritty, work with the dog, show the owner how to, hey, you see this type of reaction, this is how you correct it, because not everybody's a professional dog trainer. Not everybody knows the sign of, okay, my dog's in distress, my dog is about to do something, or my dog's not happy. And that's where we educate people to show them, hey, this is what I call reading your dog. Once you know how to read your dog, situations change very, very drastically. The less likelihood of somebody getting bit or the dog having a reaction to another dog. It's a lot easier to, when I see other people going, oh, okay, I get, like a light bulb clicks and says, oh, wow, I never even thought about doing it that way.
Yeah. I think that's probably, in my experience, I use an aggressive, quote unquote, aggressive dog as my service dog. Alaskan Malamutes have a bad reputation. But I grew up with Malamutes in Alaska. I grew up around sled teams. I mushed dogs for a while, and I learned what the dogs were saying. I learned how to read my dog. And so I was able to train him, redirect that. When I see the ears go back, I understand, okay, he's stressed, there's something, and I look at the environment and say, what is he responding to? What is it? I see those ears go forward and those eyes open up, and I know, oh, there's something he wants to take a look at and maybe eat,
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about but I think that's also something with PTSD service dogs. You learn to communicate with your dog. You become almost symbiotic. You're a team. You work together. You read each other's minds. I don't know. I've never seen you working Roxy in person, but Skeeter and I have a constant conversation. I use words. He doesn't. Yes. But we talk the entire time. We went to the store this morning, and we just had a conversation the whole time we were moving through the store. I tell him which direction I want him to go. He lets me know, hey, that aisle's clear. There's nothing to worry about. Oh, look, there's people over there, But it's all about that give and take, that communication with your service dog and building that relationship. And that's a big part, not just alerting to the changes in your body chemistry and everything, but redeveloping that really, I don't know how to describe it, almost a psychic level of connection with your dog that helps
like
with
being
PTSD.
Like a stigmatic twin. When one moves, the other one moves. One gets hurt, the other one feels it.
Yeah.
And I do talk to Roxy. I don't talk to her like a baby. Oh, you're
no.
There are times that, I let her be a dog because, in the end, she is a dog. They are not perfect. They do not walk on water. They will eat cat poop out of the litter box if you don't pay attention.
Kitty Rokas.
They are dogs, but, at the same time, when these type of dogs, they're on a totally different level than just Fido, your regular house pet. These dogs have been trained. I've lost track of how many hours. I used to record, 2 hours here, 3 hours here. Yeah, but then 4 years added onto it. I lost tally of how many hours I've literally worked with Roxy. And Roxy, she's very smart. I have taught her English, German, and Dutch commands.
Awesome.
People said she's not a German Shepherd. She's not a Belgian Malinois. Why are you teaching her these languages? That's not necessary. And I'm like, no, it's not. But when your dog has narrow pathways that are just opening up and the dog is understanding everything, I could tell her, Sitz, Aflagen, Sitz, Platz, Fuß. She's going to know every single word I tell her because I've drilled it into her head. We've practiced. And she operates like a well-oiled machine. I go up to a neighbor's dog and tell it Platz, it's going to look at me and probably jump on me and lick me in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the best thing, knowing that when you walk into any store, any restaurant, and your dog is literally the best one there, probably better than some of the children running around acting a fool. It's a very good feeling that not just, the dog is performing good, but the handler is able to maintain a cool head and be able to give the commands and correct the dog on the spot when needed at the appropriate time.
I've always said handling your dog is an active verb. It's not a robot. You don't just plug it in, turn it on, and it does what you want. You've got to interact with your animal. There is no such thing as a plug-and-play service dog. It doesn't exist. If you don't know how to handle your dog, you're not going to be successful.
No. And that's a lot of why Roxy is where she is today, because when I got her, I had nobody. I had family, but in my mind, I didn't have nobody. I was so far ate up with PTSD and things like that. Even my own family telling me, hey, we're here. We got you, we support you. In my mind, I hear nothing. I hear and see nothing. I had nobody. And the only person I had to rely on was Roxy. And I would talk to her, and, it's so funny to say it, but she would answer back. She would tilt her little head back and forth, doing the head tilt, or she'll do her little squeak that she does. She doesn't really bark. She makes little squeak noises. I never trained her to bark because I don't really want to hear a barking dog.
Yeah.
But, and it's, people say, oh, you talk to yourself. You don't answer back, do you? No, I talk to my dog. My dog answers back.
Yeah.
And people just look at you and be like, well, you don't understand the type of relationship I have with my dog.
Absolutely.
My dog is my life. Like, I would lay my own life down for that dog so that dog can live, and vice versa. That dog would lay her life down to where she knew her daddy would have a better, peaceful life.
Yeah.
And every day I wake up and, I see Roxy there. I usually let her sleep out of the kennel. There's some nights that, mama tells me, put her up, can't be in the bed because we have no room. And so unfortunately, I have to put Roxy in the kennel, but I am liable to crawl in that kennel with her and sleep with her throughout the night. I don't care. I'll shut the kennel door. You can have the bed, Mom, and I'll be here with the dog.
Yep.
It's just the emotional attachment I have with her. And even if she wasn't Roxy, the PTSD service dog, she's just Roxy, my service dog, my baby. It would not be any more different. Just because we have the platform that we do doesn't change the fact that at the end of the day, that's my best friend. She is my lifesaver, and she's God's gift to me. I couldn't, like I said before, I couldn't ask for a better best friend, a better battle buddy, a better therapist, coach, everything in this world she is,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't take her for granted. Every second I have with her is precious, because I know in the end, when she finally goes on, I'm never going to have her again. And it's just the memories of having her now. That's why I cherish her so much. I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it. I'm trying not to get all depressed thinking of my dog here, but
Skeeter's getting up there. I understand.
She's a big 4.5 now. She'll be 5 November 28th.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe I had her from a puppy. Now she's waiting on to get that AARP in.
Yeah, Skeeter's 7.5, and I probably have 3 solid years with him, and that's hard. That's hard to take.
Yeah, I don't.
But I have to be realistic.
Yeah, I know, and I know nothing lasts forever, and I take every day with her, and that's why I go do all the events we do. We go see the people and try to just put the rubber to the road to make sure I know at the end of the day when I see that she's passed out on her little dog cot there, her little Coolaroo cot, that I know she's sleeping good. She's had a good busy day. She's got what she's needed, and she's happy. She does Roxy things when the collar and the vest comes off. She's just like a dog, like everybody else. She runs around, does zoomies. She plays with a blanket. I don't know why, she's the only dog that I have ever seen. She won't play with a toy. You can throw a ball in front of her, she's probably not gonna play with it. You throw a fleece blanket at her, she gonna waller all on it, love it, chew on it, run around, look like Linus from Charlie Brown there with his blanket.
Yeah.
That's Roxy though. But her quirks, what she does might be weird to some people, but that's my dog. That's Daddy's girl. If anything, you could tell that's Justin's dog.
Yep.
So.
Well, we're about out of time. I've been talking with Justin Tucker, handler of Roxy, the PTSD service dog. Again, Justin, where can we find you on Facebook?
Yes, sir. I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter for Roxy, and YouTube. It is Roxy, the PTSD service dog.
And Roxy is a semi-finalist in the American Hero Dogs Award. Where can we find her so we can vote for her? And how often can we vote for her?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You can click on, there's a couple of different ways. You can go on Roxy's page. I usually share the link always. It's a herodogawards.org. Or you could log on to the herodogawards.org, go onto their page, and there's a section that says Meet the Contestants, Vote Now. Basically, it's self-explanatory. Click the button, look for the candidates. There's different categories for the different contestants. Roxy is in the service dog category, and there's only 3 dogs in each category, and Roxy is the only pit bull service dog out of I think a yellow lab and a black lab. So she's the only bully in the service dog category. So it's pretty obvious which one Roxy is.
Yep.
And you can vote for Roxy once a day, all the way up into July 11th. July 11th is the cutoff date. I think it's July 11th at 12 noon Pacific time is the last part of when you can vote.
Okay.
So hopefully Roxy wins, and we can get Roxy to Hollywood, California, where she will be pre-recorded for the Hallmark Channel. The American Humane Hero Dog Awards is like the Oscars for the dogs.
Yep.
So hopefully,
and it would be a good way to strike a blow against breed bans, against bully breeds.
Yes, absolutely.
Should Roxy win? Well, you've been listening to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog, my guest Justin Tucker. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, you can buy a copy of the book PTSDog, Post-Traumatic Stress in the Service Dog, at booklocker.com, amazon.com, and barnesandnoble.com. If you do choose Amazon, please consider using smile.amazon.com and choosing the DV Farm as your charity of choice. You've been listening to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog right here on DV Radio, WDVR.